Hong Kong and Singapore are the natural choices for us to start because predominantly English speaking. So, we launched 99designs.com.sg 3 days ago now as part of us being here at the conferences. And so that means you can pay in Singapore dollars, you don't get charged horrendous fees by your bank. There's a local phone number. You can talk to support people that aren't far away, either in the Philippines or Australia. And hopefully it's a bit easy to find now because it's on a local domain. And so what's our future strategy? I guess we'll follow very closely how that goes. What we've done in a lot of other regions is after we see some uptake, we put in place a country manager, someone who can kind of come and attend meetups like this and kind of spread the word around, but also provide kind of local support, a local voice for improvements and things that we can make to the site, as well as helping out with marketing, the community side. And then, on top of that, I think it's just kind of working out, which other markets in Asia is there kind of a need for something like that on plants.
Any questions? Okay, so I saw one here, and then after that, one here. Okay, go first. Go ahead.
I just think it's basically a design contest for your crowdsourcing model. Is there, for example, any designer fatigue? Because out say the 100 entries, only 3 will win something and the rest will. And if this repeats, would there be a natural attrition of designers after a while?
So I guess we've been going for 5 years now. So over the 5 years, we've got to know how designers work pretty well. And so 50% of our designers, when we survey them, are actually employed in the graphic design industry. And it's just that they use No Designs as a source to earn supplementary income. And so the designers, they use the site lots of different ways. The ones that are full-time, obviously they can't use the site every day or every minute of the day because they just use it in the evenings perhaps, or maybe they enter a couple of contests a month. So it's a lot more protracted than you might think. But then for other designers in the likes of Indonesia, where winning a couple of $100 US dollars, even once a month, that's a huge sum of money. That represents a life-changing sum of money. Sometimes if they're really successful, and so they can afford to spend time, getting to know the system, getting to know how they can make it work for them. They look at the projects and they kind of can see with a quick browse, of the projects that are new today. These ones are going to be good ones to enter, and these other ones, they just don't match my skill set. It's too low a probability. They can get their heads around, what is, I guess, going to be good for them to enter. I imagine there are some designers that enter contest after contest, and they can't quite get a grip around it, and so they kind of give up at that point. I imagine absolutely it does happen, but I think there's kind of enough opportunity on offer that for a lot of designers they can make it work.
Hi, I'm Brandon. Okay, what I'd like to ask is because when starting up a company, there's the main challenge that you face actually to find manpower. So how do you grow your company to find employees? Do you have any strategy, and how do you maintain a low attrition rate?
Yeah, cool. So the simple answer is culture, I think.
Right.
So we've always been very, very, very selective about who we hire as a team. Always. In fact, it's annoying in a lot of cases because it means talk to a lot of people, and you have to interview a lot of people, and you have to keep saying no, until you find the right person. But you know, the thing that we always stand by is that if somebody comes in and they meet 6 people from 99 Designs, we typically do have, you know, kind of get 6 people by the time we're making a decision. You know, if it isn't 6 people with a thumbs up, then we don't hire that person.
Right.
And so I think, you know, when you're starting out, establishing the culture of your team is like super important. And so for us, you know, like what's important to kind of our team is, you know, no politics, as I described. You know, no bullshit. Being able to just say what you think, being able to contribute ideas and not kind of get slammed or, you know, put in your place or anything like that. Those are the sorts of things we believe in. We also believe in 3-day Christmas parties. We believe in, you know, having an espresso coffee machine that, you know, costs thousands of dollars. We believe in, you know, having a beer fridge that's stocked, you know, regularly with 5 different kinds of beer, and you know, even if it's Monday at 3 p.m. and you feel like a beer, you can have a beer. You know, flexible working hours, so you know it's not 9 to 5. You know, if you want to rock up at 10 and work till 6 or, you know, whatever, that's fine as long as you get your job done. And then, you know, I think one key thing that we started to do early on is, you know, we kind of challenged our development team, and we knew we were building great product. We knew we were building, you know, like a world-class platform for graphic designers. But you know, we started to just say things like, you know, like we want to be known as a world-class development team. And so, you know, I would always say to the guys, you know, we are a world-class development team. It's just that we don't tell anyone about it. You know, you have the likes of 37 Signals. I don't know if you guys follow, you know, kind of 37 Signals or you know, Etsy. You know, some of these companies, you know, obviously the likes of Facebook, you know, they have world-class development teams, there's no doubt about it. But one thing that they're good at doing is like telling people about what they do. You know, whether it's blogging about it or going to conferences or just speaking at meetups. And I think there's probably a lot of good companies around that just don't take the time to kind of develop their reputation as a world-class team. And so we started doing some of that stuff. You know, just the first blog post we wrote on our tech blog was infrastructure at 99 Design. So one of our DevOps guys, you know, he wrote about, you know, our stack. So it's, you know, PHP, Lazy Stack, but we actually started out on Amazon's cloud services right from day one. We were one of Amazon's first customers. And so, you know, he wrote about, drew diagrams about how that all kind of hung together, and it just went like crazy. Like, first post on our new tech blog, and we had the CTO of Amazon tweeting it out. And so, you know, from just that small start, you know, we were able to develop, you know, kind of a reputation for being a top tech team in Melbourne. And so from there, you know, now we have, whenever developers are, you know, coming in for an interview, they typically know who we are. They typically say, you know, when we say, why do you want to work for us? They say, well, you know, it's pretty obvious you guys are one of the top tech companies to work for in town, and, you know, why wouldn't you want to be a part of that?
Okay, the contest is officially over, but the question still goes. I haven't heard from the lady actually, so yes, the lady.
Hi, I'm Mahima, and I'm a graphic designer myself. So I have been participating in your platform quite a lot.
Awesome.
Right, but I've never won anything, that's alright. But what do you, according to you, you should ensure that the designers keep coming back? What would be the next incentivizing model for them? If not prize money, what else?
So I guess, you know, like the benefit of something like 99 Designs is an open platform. Like, you can see what happens not only in the contest that you enter, but all of the contests on the platform. So you can go and look at, a bunch of other contests that are similar to the ones that you entered, as well as the ones that you enter, and kind of start to get a feel for why customers chose the designers that they did. And so I think there's a real advantage to a platform like ours from a learning point of view. You start to piece together what works on the platform and what helps you get attention in the eyes of the customer. And if a customer wrote a design brief that asked for that, how did the winning designer actually take that and produce something that ended up with them winning? I think that's one way to kind of develop your skills. Other things that we've done, for example, we've created a logo store called the Ready Made Logo Store, and it was actually this kind of, to the other gentleman behind you, to this point as well. This was in response to some pretty early feedback that we got from designers where they would say, hey, like in any given logo contest, one design wins, 98 don't. Can you give us a way to make some money from these designs which you've already created? And so what we did was we had to think about it, and we thought, well, what if we had a different model for buying a logo? What if we had a model where you could take some of those designs, you could remove the customer's name, make them a little more generic, and put them in a store basically. So you could browse through this store, you can search for Blue Accounting logos, and you'll see a whole bunch of logos which you can then just buy off the shelf effectively. And so that's what we built. It's called the Ready Made Logo Store. I think you actually need to have one win before you can post your designs into the store, but I might be able to help you out with that.
Interesting to say that actually for some of us who hire designers, we actually also, one of the things that we actually ask is, have you ever applied designs and how many contests have you won?
Right.
And ask them to show our portfolio. So it's quite interesting, even for as entrepreneur when we hire. So we actually also use that as a gauge to sieve out whether this designer has done some of these things.
Mm.
Yeah. So I think I will just take one more question. One last question. Anyone? Okay. The lady behind. Yeah.
Hi, Carmen. Actually, it's a two-part question. One, you brought up a bit about how you didn't spend any marketing dollars the first couple of years, right? And it was because you were going for, it was more of like a tech type of scene that was kind of helping to facilitate the convergence between consumer and designer, right? Do you see some demographics, if you were to look at them from industry, that seems to be, early adopter, go for the tech scene, go for the misfits, and let them kind of do the work for you, to then get into a more greater mainstream, like brick and mortar types of companies? Or do you see, what's the status for you guys when it comes to building, the consumer, the buyer?
So tech is still strong for us. Obviously, the idea of crowdsourcing, it obviously leans itself towards that tech community. So there's that side of things, but I guess the other side of what we do is obviously the design side of things, the creative side of things. And so it's creative industries like hairdressers and florists and bakeries, kind of people that have a natural inclination towards the arts and towards design. We're finding, are kind of appreciating the idea that you could get a whole lot more design choice than you're typically used to when you go to just a single graphic designer. So it resonates well with them, and then I guess just through having those two to kind of spread the word around, it's spreading it to predominantly white collar businesses as well. So I guess that's the stage of our growth now is where we've kind of got the tech scene we've got a pretty good start into. Creative scene, again, we're starting to get kind of good adoption into, and then through coming together, you can kind of get to the lawyers and the accountants and some of these other industries where design perhaps hasn't always been kind of really thought about or really prioritised. You don't see many accounting businesses that have great brochures or great logos. But I think over time, they're beginning to appreciate the value of great design through companies like Apple. Everyone's got an iPhone these days. Everyone knows that the UI and the way that products like iPhones are designed just makes them so much easier to use. So I think for us, we're just lucky that design is getting more appreciated the whole world over.